the week before the official start to the season week. That's what we're in, Eagles Nation. That's what we're in, NFL fans, the week before the week. That means cut down day is tomorrow. That means wheeling and dealing. Howie Roseman wheeling and dealing on Sunday. We're going to talk all about that and the roster, where and how it's going to shape up for our Eagles. Phillies, big week upon us here after a big weekend with some bad news. Zack Wheeler. We're going to talk about that as well. Trending in the AM. We are live, taking your thoughts and opinions on all this and more in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live, as we always are, every single morning. YouTube and Twitter, please, wherever you're watching, you hit that like button. Please hit that share button. Of course, subscribe. Starting the week at 599 subscribers. Let's get to 600 today. We do that by hitting like, subscribe, share, and vote on our YouTube poll question. If you're watching on Twitter, make sure you head over to the YouTube page linked in my bio on Twitter and vote on today's poll question of the day. Grade the 3 trades Howie Roseman made on Sunday. A, B, C, or D. Curious to see how this plays out, how this conversation plays out. I already see a comment from Duck that I love that we're going to get into in a second. But, guys, please like, share, subscribe, vote on the poll, and tell somebody. Make the switch. Everybody's talking about making the switch. I've been telling you to make the switch and turn the dial down and turn Trending the AM up on YouTube for a long time now, guys. So make sure you guys do that. Guys, I'm Phil Stiefel. Let's get to it. Tomorrow, Eagles have to have their roster down to 53 players. Next week's kickoff. We got so much happening in football world. And Howie Roseman yesterday, Sunday, wasted no time making 3 trades, bringing 2 players in, sending 1 player out, to kind of pivot, to kind of adjust, to kind of see how he could fix some of the holes on this Eagles roster. Let's go through these trades. First, early yesterday morning, the Eagles traded for Minnesota Vikings backup quarterback Sam Howell. Yes, the Sam Howell that threw for almost 400 yards against us a couple of years ago. So basically the trade details there, we sent a 2026 fifth, a 2027 seventh. We got back Sam Howell and a 2026 sixth. So we flipped the fifth and a sixth this year, gave up a seventh, and got Sam Howell. Okay? Next trade, Fred Johnson, former offensive lineman, okay? One that we should not have let go in free agency for a mere $1 million. He went to Jacksonville, was going to be a bench guy there, so we traded a 7th rounder to get him back, to free up that roster spot on the offensive line. We then sent Dejean Kennard to Green Bay for a 2027 6th-round pick. So we traded Fred Johnson traded Fred Johnson for a 6th or 7th, and then traded Kennard and got back a 6th. So, all in all, fixing that depth on the offensive line and fixing the quarterback depth, because there was a quarterback depth issue. And today's question was top 10 questions facing the Eagles. Depth at quarterback and offensive line were clearly 2 of those questions. First with Sam Howell, talking about Tanner McKee and his injury. It's a broken thumb, they're saying now. It's just the tip of his thumb. So I think kind of Tanner McKee could be an emergency 3rd-string quarterback at first. Kyle McCord, we knew, was struggling. He is not ready to be a backup quarterback in the NFL yet. DTR was trash. We all knew that was going to be the case. So you went out and you fixed it. Now, I'm curious about why you trade for Sam Howell and not just wait for the waiver wire to see who gets cut and released and whatnot. Offensive line has not been good in preseason games. The backups, the depth pieces. Going out and getting Fred Johnson, who we know what he can do. He can play left tackle and right tackle. Shouldn't have ever left in the first place, but it was a great move. And Darian Kennard, somebody we expected to do that, wasn't living up to that, okay? So you moved him on to get one of those picks back. So we're going to talk about this. Good morning, Duck. How you doing? Howie gets a C for the weekend trades. He made passing decisions because previous decisions didn't work out the way he expected. And I love that comment. He is being very active, Howie Roseman. He is fixing some of the holes. But some of these holes that he's fixing are holes that he created. So I love the way that let's not prop Howie up too high, because these are all very solid moves, okay? They all make sense, but they make sense because of misses before. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to love that. Good morning, Howie is cooking. That's 599. Let's get to 600 today, Adam. Let's go. I'm living, of course you are. Stop. Good morning, Rick. How are you? McCord, more of a practice squad guy for at least a year. Absolutely. But see, the thing is, you had to make the Sam Howell trade because if Tanner McKee can't throw a football yet, you needed somebody to be quarterback 2 week 1 against Dallas. Broken thumb probably takes a couple of weeks to heal, to get that grip back in your hand. You couldn't go into next Thursday's game against Dallas with Kyle McCord as your number 2. And you just couldn't do it. You couldn't go with DTR in that situation either. So you had to make a trade. Now, I am curious why you trade for Sam Howell. And this is not a knock on Sam Howell. Sam Howell has starting experience. He's got experience in the NFC East. You know, he's started games. He's got a lot of experience, Sam Howell. But he's not a very good quarterback. And you basically gave up a 7th. You flipped the 5th and a 6th, and you gave up a 7th for him. So it was really cheap. But there's going to be 75 quarterbacks cut today. Sam Howell might have been one of them. And I know we're last on the waiver wire and whatnot, but couldn't we have just waited and just picked up the best available guy off the waiver wire? I don't know. I was a little curious of why you make a trade for Sam Howell, but it makes sense bringing him in. Exactly, Rick, or Duck. Tommy Fleetwood winning the Torch Championship. How about them apples? K1, me and you are the only ones that talk golf. But for a guy that has come so close and collapsed so many times to get your first PGA Tour win in the Tour Championship against a deep, difficult 30-man field, love you, Tommy. You're off the gutless loser list now, finally. He's fixing offensive tackle with a known swing tackle that he can use at both left and right when they need to swap. Exactly. And we know Lane Johnson misses a few games every year. And we're talking about Fred Johnson here. We know Jordan Mailata missed time for the first time last year. So you need somebody that can step in, and he does it. He's not a great offensive tackle, Fred Johnson. Hence why he's a backup. Hence why he's making a little over $1 million. But he's a guy that knows our system, and we know can perform serviceably at both left and right side. So it's a perfect addition. It's an addition that made no sense why he left in the first place. Howie probably thought he was going to be able to grab somebody in the draft. The draft didn't work out the way he expected, and here we are. I think it means you couldn't wait to comment about me. Oh, stop. Why can't we get along? He doesn't. It's so weird how he tries to use it. Looks like the catering went well. Yeah, I had a busy weekend on catering. I'm quite exhausted right now, Adam. Howell is not a good quarterback, but should survive half to 2 games if anything happens. Exactly. And as soon as Tanner McKee can throw a football again, Sam Howell instantly becomes quarterback 3. He's your emergency quarterback. So Sam Howell as quarterback 3, perfectly fine. Sam Howell as quarterback 2 for 1 or 2 games, what's a broken tip of your thumb really going to take? Another week or 2 to heal? Hell, Tanner McKee might be good by next Thursday. Who knows? You needed somebody. Kyle McCord's not ready. DTR is trash. Is Sam Howell good? No. Is Sam Howell better than Kyle McCord or DTR? Yes. So I give it that. I give the trades a B. Fred Johnson's good depth, and Howell has played well as a starter. I don't know if I'd say he's played well as a starter, Anthony. Sam Howell, in his 1 full season as a starter with Washington in 23, was 4-13, led the league in interceptions and sacks taken. All right, he did lead the league in passing attempts as well that year, but he was 4-13 in his 1 full year as a starter. So let's not say that Sam Howell's he's played well. I don't know if I'd use play well there. And we're not giving Tommy Fleetwood any credit, Steve. Do it in a full field. Let's do it in a small, deep field like that. Come on. The only thing I know is that Howell is better than. Yeah, that's the only thing with Sam Howell. He is better than what we had, which is all that matters. I'm growing my hair out in honor of Tommy Ladd. Good for you. Maybe you could grow your bank account like Tommy Ladd's bank account grew on Sunday. The right guard and left guard rookies seem to be decent, though. Yeah, and Matt Pryor can perform okay in a split second at guard as well. Brett Toth maybe makes the team, maybe not. I don't even know. You needed Fred Johnson. You absolutely did, Duck. Howie had a good weekend. Yeah, a good weekend. But again, as Duck said earlier, I like to say good weekend, but a good weekend fixing some of the mistakes he had already made, letting Fred Johnson go. Phillies had a good week. Phillies had a good weekend that could have been great if it wasn't for the Zack Wheeler news. Taking 2 out of 3 against the Nationals. Jhoan Duran got that one blown save out of the way. Good. Now he could just cruise through the playoffs. Just Zack Wheeler, the news, and Rick, you're going to call me Mr. Debbie Downer. I know you said he'd be back this year, but now my next statement, you're going to say, don't worry, he'll be fine next year. I mean, that's 6 to 8 months recovery for the surgery that Zack Wheeler's going to have. Then he's going to have to rebuild up arm strength. We might not see Zack Wheeler till late June, early July next year. That's a damn shame. Now, he said he will be back, so he's put to bed any rumors of him maybe retiring from this. But, man, that's just a heartbreaker when you lose your ace. It's a gut punch. When you're holding on to hope that Zack Wheeler could be back and he's not. Breaks the heart. Sam Howell's a solid backup. He's no Tanner McKee, but he's better than McCord. Exactly. He's a great number 3. He's not a great number 2. That's how I would say. But he is a number 2 for the next 2 weeks. Got short memory. Fred Johnson is more than serviceable. He's starting the Bengals game. Yeah, no. I'm not trying to knock him down. I'm just saying he's obviously not a regular starter. He's exactly what you want out of your backup swing tackle. A guy that could spot start and do well, okay? But I think would get exposed on a good team in a long-term situation. I'm not knocking Fred. I think it's a great. I didn't want him gone in the first. I remember saying on this show and Twitter, as soon as we lost him, like, what? We couldn't retain him for $1 million. I think it's like $1.2 million. Like, I was shocked that we didn't retain him. Phillies have used the Wheeler injury as their battle cry. That's right. It's hashtag win it for Wheeler. That is what we're doing now. Hashtag win it for Wheeler is the new rally cry for this Phillies team. I think today might push up his trade grade because now it's cuts and bring in talent released from other teams that need to cut. Yeah, absolutely. Howie's going to be very busy and active today and tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day. You got to get it down. Yeah, it's going to be a very, very hectic day. It's almost going to be too hard to keep up with all the maneuvering that Howie is going to do today. I mean, it's going to be a very hectic day. Right. So, yeah, I don't want you to think that I'm downplaying Fred Johnson. I know exactly what Fred Johnson is. He's exactly what you want, that newer term, so to speak, in a swing tackle. He's the perfect swing tackle on your bench. Again, if, say, knock on wood, don't want that, but say Lane Johnson went down for 6, 8, 10 weeks, then I might be concerned. But in a 2-week spot start situation or middle of the game for a drive, good. And you don't have to teach him anything. He knows the system. He knows this team. So he's a perfect addition at this point. Fred Johnson is solid depth. It was a good move. It was a great move. It was a bad move to let him walk in the first place. But he's the one thing about Howie. So Duck's comment was he's fixing his mistakes, and it knocks his grade down. At least Howie's willing to admit his mistakes and try to fix them. Is Sam Howell better backup than Pickett or Sudfeld? It's a good question. You know, there's rumors, and now the Browns are saying they're keeping 4 quarterbacks on their 53-man roster. Why? That's insane. But there's still a rumor and a chance that Kenny Pickett might just get cut. Would you have rather trade for Sam Howell or wait to maybe pick up a Pickett who at least knows the system already? There's that argument. I would almost say Pickett's probably better than Howell because he's got more success as a starter. Sudfeld I would probably rank them Pickett 1, Howell 2, Sudfeld 3. Yabba dabba doo! Fred is back. That's right, Big Al. Good morning to you, my man. Wheels up. It's win it for Wheeler or wheels up. Yes. Oh, we all know how he's not done. I joked, go get Isaiah Rodgers. You brought back Fred, now bring back Isaiah Rodgers. But we still don't know what's, top 10 questions facing the Eagles. The next 24 hours, we're going to learn the answer at cornerback too. And I have literally no idea. 1 minute, I think Adoree Jackson's getting cut. Next minute, I think Kelee Ringo's getting cut. Next minute, I think Kelee Ringo's starting. Next minute, I think Adoree Jackson or Jacorian Bennett's starting. I still have no idea. But I would be shocked if at least one addition from outside isn't brought into the secondary, whether it's safety or cornerback today. For sure. Love win it for Wheeler. Great idea. I don't know how you get emojis attached, like how you get Twitter to create them, but I want an official win it for Wheeler 45 hashtag for sure. Hal is better backup than Sudfeld, but Pickett looked decent towards the end of the season. Yeah, absolutely. Pickett's better. Pickett is number 2 in Cleveland to Joe Flacco, but also there have been a lot of rumors that Pickett was going to get cut too, because who keeps 4 quarterbacks, and they don't want to cut their 2 rookies. It's really weird, Cleveland. Cleveland, I don't know that I've ever seen 4 quarterbacks make a 53-man roster. Howie, best GM in sports. Yeah, I mean, is that a question or a state? I don't know. Like, I need more emphasis on this because it's so true. And the thing that makes him so great, Rick, is him admitting mistakes quicker. He's learned. He used to take so long to admit his mistakes. Now, boom. I screwed up the offensive line. Let's fix it. Done. Kyle McCord's not ready yet. Let's fix that. Like I said, win it for Wheeler is this team's battle cry. And go for it. And good. I like it. Stop, Anthony. Stop. Sam Howell is trash, okay? I like the move for a quarterback 3 position, but let's not act like Sam Howell's a good quarterback. 4-13 in 2023 as a starter. Let's not forget that. 4-13. They are not keeping 4 quarterbacks. Flacco's one. Sanders and Gabriel have shown they can be quarterback of the future. They need to cut one of them. Pickett is a good vet. Yeah, look, it's just weird. That's what the Browns media is saying. And the only reason why I looked is because I wanted to bring Kenny Pickett into this conversation today. And everything I'm reading is a lot of their beat reporters, their Martin Franks, their Ed Kratzes, saying that they're going to potentially keep 4 quarterbacks, which that's why you lose regularly. I think the Eagles should sign Stephon Gilmore. He would be the perfect for this team at cornerback too. Yeah, Rollo, I kind of dabbled with this idea on the show over the last couple of weeks. The question is, why hasn't he been signed yet? By not just us, by anybody. Does he not have enough left in the tank? Does he think he's worth more than he is because of his previous reputation? But he is what? I mean, he's getting up there in age. I don't know. I don't know why he hasn't been signed by any team in the NFL yet. And when a guy like him or Justin Simmons with a pedigree are still here a week and a half before the season starts, not on a roster, that's a big red flag for me. But I'm sure Howie has at least reached out and inquired about him. Kenny Pickett. So they'd have 2 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks on their roster, then, is what you're saying, right? Will Grier and Kenny Pickett. Stop. Sucked with Washington football team sucked with Rivera and Bieniemy. Don't judge Hal too harshly, my bearded friend. I knew someone was going to make an excuse for the team on Sam. He was still 4-13. He still threw 21 interceptions and was sacked over 60 times. Where's the number? 65 times, okay? Look, I like Sam Howell. I think it's a good, solid trade and a good addition to the quarterback factory. But let's not act like Sam Howell has had massive success in the NFL. Let's put Sam Howell into this way. The Minnesota Vikings were willing to bring in Carson Wentz, who hadn't been with them for at all in training camp. A week and a half before the season, Minnesota would rather have Carson Wentz on their roster than Sam Howell. What does that say about Sam Howell? All right? Sam Howell there the entire offseason, or Carson Wentz who's not been there. Just putting that into the situation there. Sanders needs a chance with a team that needs a quarterback of the future. I think Browns like Gabriel. Yeah, I mean, I have no opinion on the Sanders stuff anymore. Whatever. Will he play? Whatever. Yes, Carson Wentz signed with the Minnesota Vikings. They chose Carson Wentz over Sam Howell. I mean, 65 sacks that he took says that for sure. Was obviously a thing. You can't be successful NFL quarterback when your touchdowns equal interceptions. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. You love that one, right? You love that. Oh, shit, that post or that news broke earlier. Mr. Captain Obvious watching a 5-hour-old video and trying to tell me that it's not news. Oh, shit, Sherlock. I'm a Sam Howell truther. Is Sam, are you changing your name from K1 for Kenny Gainwell to some kind of Howwan or something like that? Is your new love affair moved on from Kenny Gainwell to Sam Howell? Carson Wentz is the gift that keeps on giving. It's unbelievable what that trade has yielded us over the years. Absolutely. Look, Rolla, I'm sitting here thinking, choking in my head, that I'm not sold on J.J. McCarthy as their starting quarterback. If he struggles, and Carson Wentz, the redemption arc of Carson Wentz begins in Minnesota. You know why? Because J.J. McCarthy ain't it. And we've already seen one former Eagles quarterback have a rejuvenation in Minnesota in Randall Cunningham. Randall Cunningham won MVP in Minnesota as a former Eagles quarterback that was cast off. Maybe. Just saying. It says that the Vikings front office isn't smart, probably why they never win anything. They won a lot of games. They just didn't win in the playoffs. Say what you want. Wentz's problem has never been the game itself. He's talented and has to get over himself to find a career other than the constant journeyman. Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's a more deeper thing on him for sure. Big part of it, 100%. Sam Howell's a nice addition behind future superstar McKee. Yep, exactly. Howell was traded for while Wentz didn't have a job. I'd say Howell is better than Wentz. Oh, I would say Howell is better suited in Philadelphia than Wentz for sure. But they had already had Wentz in for a workout. He hadn't been signed yet, but they had been working him out, I think, Saturday or maybe early Sunday, completed the trade, then signed him immediately. I need a Sam Howell. I do not want a Sam Howell jersey. I do not. I'll buy you your Sam Howell jersey. What? Let's see. We jump 101 subscribers. We get to 700 today. I will buy you a Sam Howell Eagles jersey, okay? Carson Wentz is like Freddy Krueger. He never goes away, comes back to haunt us, and his hands are only dangerous in the dream realm. Thank you, Peanut. Thank you for that. That is true. I will say Freddy Krueger as a kid was the biggest horror movie character that scared me the most. I remember watching Freddy Krueger for the first time. I don't even remember which one of the Nightmare on Elm Streets. I think my dad was watching. I snuck down. I watched it from the background, and I did not sleep for days after that. Whichever one that there was a girl like in a hospital going across the ceiling. Whichever one that was. Andy Reid is genius when it comes to quarterbacks, and he couldn't get anything out of Wentz. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say he couldn't get anything out of him. I mean, what kind of opportunity do you really have? Because he did have Patrick Mahomes in front of him. Hal has a better redemption arc than Carson. Yeah, maybe. 76ers are going to be better than most people think this season. Okay, so they might win 30 games instead of 25. Cool. They're out there talking rumors about them getting Anthony Simons because we need our 12th guard on the roster. Freddy Krueger scared you because, oh, okay, gotcha. Cool, yeah. I'm sure 8-9-year-old Rick was not scared of anything. Cool, yeah. Anyway, guys, you're watching Trey. On that great comment, you're watching Trey in the AM. If you haven't, like, share, subscribe. Vote on the poll question. There's only 9 votes early on the poll question today. Let's see how the likes are coming along early in this show. Let's see where we're at. We haven't gained any new subscribers yet. We are sitting at 8 likes on this video. There's more than 8 of you watching right now, so please hit those buttons. Hal has a better possibility of redemption arc than Wentz. Not really, because the only way Hal gets his redemption arc is if Jalen Hurts gets hurt and Tanner McKee gets hurt. Okay? Wentz has a better chance because J.J. McCarthy is unproven in Minnesota. He's basically, it's his rookie year. Right? It's not, but it basically is, Duck. So we don't know. They literally gave up a quarterback in Minnesota that led them to a 14-win season to turn the reins over to a rookie, in theory, that's coming off a major injury. So I would say Howell has lesser chance of that redemption arc than Wentz. A lot would have to go wrong for Howell to have a chance to have that redemption arc here. I remind you that we don't have the Super Bowl without Wentz, and we don't have our second without trading Wentz. Oh, I don't think you would find a single Philadelphia Eagles fan that wouldn't agree with this, okay? I mean, Carson Wentz was the MVP of the NFL in 2017 before he got hurt. What was it? Was it game 14 or 15 he got hurt? So, I mean, we win the Super do we win the Super Bowl? I don't know. But we get to the Super Bowl that year for sure with Wentz. And then who knows what happens in that point. In that trade, oh my God. I mean, if Howie's able to get a first for Wentz, could you imagine what he could get for McKee? Could you imagine what he could get for Sam Howell? And let me just throw this out there since I mentioned it. People are saying, oh, the Sam Howell trade means that they're trading Tanner McKee. No. I will make sure we all know there's 120% chance Tanner McKee is not getting traded right now. Not at all this season. Maybe after the season. Probably after the season. But right now, Tanner McKee is not getting traded anywhere. Not happening. Not at all. No chance. Unless some team called and said, I'm going to give you 5 first-round picks. It's not happening, okay? How did McKee hurt his finger? In practice, he hurt it. They didn't say. They said he broke his thumb, but then a further report said it's just like the tip of your thumb. So I'm trying. Here's Ducks football, all right? I guess it is kind of hard when you're gripping a football, right there. I guess you could grip it enough to hand it off in an emergency situation. But I guess he can't play just yet. But it's just the tip of his thumb is broken. Shook his hand too hard when he met him. Is that what it is? Yeah. Am I the only one who wants Wentz to have some success? No. Al, I've said it before. I still have my Carson Wentz jersey upstairs. I want to wear it again. When he retires, I am going to wear it again. It still fits. I want Wentz to have success. I don't want him beating us in the playoffs or whatnot. But yeah, I want Wentz to have success. I feel bad for the guy. I think his career was changed when he hurt that ACL, obviously. And his mental makeup wasn't really meant for Philly. But I think after that concussion to Dejean Clowney, he just got wrecked too hard. And I just don't think he ever got over that. But I want him to get over to it. I want him to have some success. I hope he gets it together and makes a team as a constant quarterback too, or possibly one. Yeah, I could see him being the Sam Darnold of it last year. I could see him being a guy that's a bridge quarterback for sure. He could be the next Doug Peterson, like he was for Don McNabb in whatever year that was. Good morning, Bruce. How you doing? Hope you had a great weekend. Okay, that's a perfect opportunity for me to remind you we're doing this fantastic fundraiser here for Eagles Autism, okay? We got 2 great prizes we're raffling off. Tickets are $5 a piece. Purchase as many as you like. How do you purchase your raffle tickets? You Venmo me at Phil Stiefel. What do we got up? We got this football signed by Cooper Dejean and Darius Slay. We got this framed A.J. Brown photo signed by A.J. Brown, and we also have a Brandon Graham strip sack photo framed and autographed as well, guys. Venmo me there, right there. We're at $600 raised so far. Guys, make sure you check it out. Right back to the comments. I don't want any player not playing for my team to have success. F that shit. I like that. I like it. Steven's choosing violence this Monday morning. Just because he didn't bet Tommy Fleetwood, you're choosing violence, right? I mean, I didn't choose him either. But yeah. You say Eagles autism like it's a bad thing. What? How? Huh? The Eagles Autism Foundation. How do I say it wrong? All money going to Eagles. Well, I don't get it. I feel if win the Mets series and then there's no way we can lose the NL East as the Mets will be too far behind. Yes, entering this big series, we got 3 games against the Mets starting tonight with our ace, Christopher Sanchez. 3 big games. We've got a 7-game lead now. We take 2 out of 3. That puts us up to 8 by the end of the series. We sweep them. We'll be at 10. Win the series. That's the goal. right? Well, the goal is let's take game one. Let's not waste Christopher Sanchez tonight. Let's take game one, Bruce. And then if we take game one, then let's just at least win the series after that. It's a big weekend, or big week for the Phillies in the sense of getting more distance from us to the Mets, so that the end stretch of the season's a little less stressful about making the playoffs and winning your division. So it's a big series. Do I think they could do it? Absolutely. I think the Mets have won a couple games recently, so they're kind of off their cold streak. They might be starting to build some momentum. So let's shut that Mets momentum, their slight bit that they're building, let's shut it down. I thought it was bald eagles with autism. What? I'm lost on that. What's up, Freddie Defo? The Mets lead us by 7 going to September 07. Hoping we don't leave this one to chance. Put them away. Yeah, it's exactly right. I think it was 6 or 7 games with like 2 weeks to play, and we came back in 07. So yeah, go out there, make a statement, and sweep the Mets. Kick them in the ass, and it's in New York, right? So not just kick them in the ass, crush them. Put your boot to their throat and just crush them. That's what we want to do. Yes, I feel you are right. The game one will be important as Sanchez is our ace now, and we make sure he stays confident. Absolutely. Well, I don't think we have to worry about him losing his confidence. The dude is just a straight stud, Christopher Sanchez. So I'm not worried about Sanchez losing anything there, Bruce. But, yeah, look, boot to ass, right? Foot to throat, knee to face, put him to sleep, run him out. Run them out of town. Make them get booed off their own stadium or field. We should kick them in the Franken beans. Damn straight. Ric Flair, dirty, low blow. Whatever it takes. Do it. 2007 was our redemption for 64. That's true. I mean, you, Freddie, were old enough to, you're probably driving already in 64, right? I've never understood the love for former players while they are still playing the game. Maybe because I've been to war and back, but if you aren't wearing my colors, you don't mean nothing to me. Look, we're not asking for them to have major success. We love a redemption story, okay? Not asking for him to win the Super Bowl. I'm just asking to see him have success. I mean, for me, I think it also because I was, so first off, you're contradicting yourself, okay? You never, except for here, except for there. I was big on Carson Wentz. I was a huge Carson Wentz guy. So for me, I really thought, you think my Jalen Hurts support is nauseating. You should have been paying attention to me when Carson Wentz in 17, 18, 19. Hashtag Wentz is elite. Used to be at the end of every tweet. Even if it was a Phillies tweet, it was hashtag Wentz is elite. All right? Going in 2020, I had him ranked the number 4 quarterback in the NFL. I'm sorry, Freddie. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. But, just because they leave us, if they don't leave us on bad terms, why can't we cheer them on as a secondary story? The only time, for now, exactly. Let's say one statement and then instantly follow it up with another contradictory statement. I know. Dude, I feel older than that, Freddie. I feel like I was born in 1900. I'm so beat up and tired today. It was a long-ass weekend. Busy-ass weekend. My body, it's hurting. It's hurting right now. This is the kind of day I wish I had a hot tub. I'd be soaking in that hot tub for 4 hours today. But anyway, guys, if you haven't, like, share, subscribe, vote on the poll question. Right now, B is leading the way on Howie's 3 trades from Sunday. A has got 31%. B has got 54%. C has got 15%. No one has voted D. That's good. It's called the slippery slope theory. Yeah. Look, see, it's weird because I want Carson Wentz to have some kind of a redemption arc in his career. But I vaguely remember not wanting Randall Cunningham to have his redemption arc. I was a much younger person at that time, though. Remember, the stadium was filled in 20 orange Broncos jerseys. It wasn't just me. Look, losing Brian Dawkins was one of the biggest mistakes of a long time for the Philadelphia. It's losing Reggie White and it's losing Brian Dawkins. 2 biggest mistakes in the history of the Eagles front office right there, arguably. See, actually, Mitchie Poon, good morning. Like, subscribe, share, everybody. We actually hit when I went to bed last night, it went up to 600. And then while we were sleeping, that last one kind of dropped off. We went to 599, 600, then back down to 599. It is what it is. Let's go. What's up, Jonathan? How you doing this morning? The Sam Howell signing is good. A better third stringer than Kyle, and insurance of Tanner's injury lingers to back up Jalen. Fred Johnson, better depth. I give B as the grade. Yeah, I think B's fair. I understand if you want to say C also because he's fixing his mistakes. But you sum up the Sam Howell trade perfectly. Better third stringer, and he's probably going to be the second stringer with McKee being the third stringer week one. And that's fine. And Fred Johnson is a perfect depth piece right there. B-Dog should never have left the city to wear the colors. He shouldn't have. He should have. I don't even remember why. I think it was money and getting younger at the position. But yeah. What's up, tough guy? How you doing, tough guy? I can't wait to see who's the 669. I can't wait to see who's 6,969 subscriber. That's the new goal for me, Mitchie Poo. I want you to create a new account so you could be subscriber 6969. Phil's version of how did get fired on your day off is losing a sub overnight. Yeah, it happens all the time. I flew from San Francisco to Philly to be there for that B-Dog game. Oh, that's awesome. It's a long flight too. I love San Francisco. It's a great city too, by the way. We need roster cuts in. Yeah, look, the Eagles have only made 2 roster cuts, really. I mean, we brought in 2 players to trade. We traded away Dejean Kennard, but we did obviously cut the first big cut, like it was a big deal, was Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and they also cut injury-waived Lewis Seen as well. So he wasn't making the roster anyway, and he got hurt late in the last preseason game, I believe. Fred, better depth than Lamb, meant to say in previous. I figured that's what you meant, though. Yeah, Fred Johnson, fixed the mistake. You let him walk too cheaply. I think I said it earlier, Jonathan. I think they let Fred Johnson go more because of a mistake, not because of the money. Like, he let him sign elsewhere because he had targets in the draft. Certain targets early in the draft didn't happen. So he's like, oh, shit, now we got to pivot. We get Lamb, we get these other guys in here. Not good enough. Look, Jacksonville, he's just going to sit on your bench. Can I give you a draft pick for him? Sure, done. And you don't have to really teach him too much. He could come in and pick up the offense like that without any hesitation. Dude, I wanted 1,000 by the start of the season. That would mean I have 8-9 days to get 401 more. It's not happening. But yes, if I don't hit 1,000 by the end of the football season, I'm just quitting. Let's be honest. But yeah, I wanted it by week 1. I wanted it by September 4th. We're not there. Oh, well, shit happens, I guess. Little disappointed, but it is what it is. But yeah, they were good trades. And trading away Dejean Kennard, you recoup one of those draft picks in the future. I got a question, and I know most of you probably know this, but if you don't, Dejean Kennard is the only three-peater in recent memory in NFL history. He won back-to-back Super Bowls with the Chiefs and came to the Eagles and won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. So he gets traded to Green Bay. Should we place a bet on Green Bay Packers to win the Super Bowl solely because Dejean Kennard's on their roster now? Maybe. I don't even know what the odds are for Green Bay to win a Super Bowl. I mean, it could be great because, I mean, they don't have a wide receiver one. Jordan Love's okay. But Dejean Kennard's now won 3 straight Super Bowls. He's on Green Bay. Maybe? Maybe throw a shekel there? L.A. has the most soulless zombies of any city I've ever been to or seen. I've never really been to L.A. I've passed through it briefly, but I'm trying to think of which is the most soulless city I've been in. Sports-wise, that'd be Atlanta probably for me, but probably. But yeah. I didn't say L.A. though. We're talking San Francisco because San Francisco is the best. All right, so we're still voting on the poll. We're back. It's kind of leveling out a little bit. We're down to 50% on the B right now. Packers are 18-1. I thought that would be like 22 or 25-1. Yeah, 18-1 is not worth it because of Dejean Kennard. Not enough juice there, Adam, for me for a fun little bet. So I would only lay like $1 or $2 on that. Not worth it to me. But there you go. Betting another team to win the Super Bowl as an Eagles fan is flat out. Well, hey, I didn't say I was going to. I was making a joke, Rick, because of the Darian Kennard situation. But secondly, if you're a real true bettor and you understand gambling, you take your fandom. Fandom is out of betting. I have already got my Eagles Super Bowl bet placed. Always have, always will. I've got a Quinion Mitchell Defensive Player of the Year award bet. Always have one, will. I've already got my Jalen Hurts MVP bet. Always have, always will. Okay? All right, and yes, I am a betting degenerate. I love to bet. But that is also why you're thinking flat out to bet against your team. That is why I don't bet. I throw one little $5 same game parlay with a touchdown and a yardage for Hurts or AJ for fun on Eagles games. And that's it. All my big betting when it comes to football are on games not associated with the Eagles. Because I like to take my fandom out of the equation. If I think the Eagles might not win a game, it might sway my opinion one way or another because I'm a fan. Philly has a couple of potholes. The city and the team, or just the city, or just the team? What are you talking about? Good morning, Brianna. How you doing? Hope you were well this morning. I never bet. I never bet the Eagles. Like, I would never say Eagles plus 6.5 or Eagles minus 5.5. Let's lay $20 or $30 on. No. We stay away from betting our team. We do the preseason bets, like the future bets, the award bets, and that's it. Yeah, every city has potholes, but the people have souls. LA is plastic. People have whose souls have been souls. Oh, my God. We're getting deep on this Monday. It's Monday morning, guys. It's not even 9 a.m. Too deep for me at this point of the morning. I can't handle that kind of conversation at this point. I need I need to just stick to football and just stick to baseball. I do have a fun topic. We're only at 10 likes, guys. We've been north of 15 views. We got 17 votes, but only 10 likes. That means people aren't hitting that like button. It helps the algorithm, and it helps the channel grow the more you click that like button, guys. So please hit that like button if you haven't. Phil, have you ever bet against a Philly team honestly? In the podcast era? No. In my podcast era. Back in when gambling was illegal and I had a bookie and I was betting, long story short, Rick, I used to bet big and I used to have a bookie that we all did back in the day. And I made very good money betting football and college basketball. I made a lot of money doing it. Pro football, college basketball. And don't want to get into the story on here. I stopped doing it. It stopped becoming fun. But yes, I probably bet against the Eagles. I definitely bet against the Sixers at times. Absolutely. Because back then I was paying bills with that. Okay? So, yeah. I don't bet Philly team during the season. I don't use my brain. Exactly. It's hard to use your brain when you're a fan. It really is. Great seeing Ranger Suarez look like the All-Star. Yes, Ranger Suarez is. We thought Ranger Suarez, like Zack Wheeler, had something wrong. Ranger Suarez turning the corner. Obviously yesterday was phenomenal, but also his last start before that was pretty solid as well, Jonathan. So yeah, absolutely. I'm not the Pete Rose. I would never bet on myself or my own team while they're coaching. So you read a root for the Eagles to lose. Not necessarily true. Not necessarily true, Rick. If I bet the Eagles plus 6.5, I just was betting for the spreads. And that's why I stopped doing it. That is really why I stopped doing it. Because I didn't want to have to worry about, they got to cover. They can't score. Don't run up the score. I needed to stay close or the over-under and whatnot. So you don't necessarily have to root for them to lose to bet against them. If the Eagles are minus 9.5 against a team like the Jaguars, you might bet the Jags plus 9.5. Doesn't mean you have to root for the Eagles to lose. You just got to root for them to win in small fashion, not blowout fashion. That's it. That's what that means. Stop. Rick, Duck. Rick lives. You live in Rick. You could say the rent-free thing to Duck or to Rick now. You guys hate each other so much. Why can't we all get along? Kumbaya. All right? A little kumbaya, people. Anyway. I have a feeling I won't worry about betting for or against the Eagles this year. You, They live rent-free in your head, okay? Just so you know. Lose a cavity? Anyway. Or lose a filling. I felt something there in my tooth. The Eagles are going to be favorites in a lot of games this year, but I don't know. I don't know how. What do we say? 7 points is the Eagles-Cowboys game? I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'll give out same-game parlays. I will definitely do that throughout the season. Stop. Can we not blow up the comments with arguments, please? This is a fun show. When you guys argue in the chat like that, you kill me. You kill me. Plus, if somebody is coming in for the first time and they see you two bickering in the chat, they might not come back and they might not stay. Let's all kumbaya this shit. All right? Anyway, so top 10 questions facing the Eagles in 2025. Zack Wheeler update. We've already talked a little bit of Zack Wheeler. Sad to see him go for the rest of this season. Sad to know that there's a chance that he might not pitch again until June or July next year. Okay. Actually, it was his second comment, not his first. Just so you know, it was his second comment. Double check. It was number 2. It's a shame, but it's glad that Zack Wheeler is getting himself taken care of and fixed for the bigger part of it, which is life issues. Okay. Rick, details matter. And you were off by 1. So, yeah. So that's the Zack Wheeler update. The Phillies have a big season or series this week for this season. And the Eagles. What are the top 10 questions? We've already addressed some of the questions. The backup quarterback position has been addressed. Offensive line tackle depth been addressed. So what will Howie Roseman do today? Will he actually make a trade for a cornerback or a safety? We don't know much about Drew Makuba's injury. We know Johnny Wilson, which we haven't talked about that. Johnny Wilson's done for the year. Season ending in IR. Some of you think Johnny Wilson stinks. Whatever. It's like Howie could see into the future trading for John Mechie like he knew magically the next day that Johnny Wilson was going to get hurt and be done for the year. How's the wide receiver room shape up? AJ, Devontae, Dotson, Mechie, Darius Cooper. Do they keep Anaya Smith? Do they bring in a wide receiver 6? Do they only go with 5 wide receivers, which in theory they've done a lot of that? What will they do there? Cornerback. Eli Ricks, I think, is as good as gone. And do they keep Ringo and Jackson? I guess in theory they have to. But do they? If Drew Makuba is going to miss 3, 4, 5 weeks, what do they do at safety? Are they really going to roll the season with 3 safeties? That's a tough one to swallow right there. Wheeler will be fine by next season. We also said he was going to be fine this season, and now he's not going to be fine until next season. Wheeler will be fine eventually. That 6 to 8 months puts him in like late April, early May. But then he's got to build up arm strength. He's going to have his own extended spring training. I'm not expecting Zack Wheeler till at least late June, which is fine. If he gets healthy, if we get Zack Wheeler late June, early July by the All-Star break, it's like it's trading for an ace. So that's fine. It's fine. I don't live in fear. I still have a no fear. No, I wish I still had a no fear. I wish I still had my no fear jackets. I bet you if you had an old original no fear jacket, they'd be worth a lot of money right now. Anyway, what do the Eagles do with these positions? I'm actually refreshing Twitter right now to make sure any news hasn't broken now. Because you're going to see throughout the day cuts, trades, other teams' cuts. Everyone saying, oh, I want that team on my team. So, in theory, it's going to be a very busy day. There's going to be a lot of news breaking. But which question mark do we want Howie to address? If Howie only addresses one thing, cornerback, safety, wide receiver, another offensive lineman, an edge rusher, what's the one thing we want him to address more than anything else? I don't live in fear. I live in reality. Okay? I live in a reality world. You live in a wake and bake dream world, okay? I live in a reality where everything ain't always going to work out the way you want it to work out, okay? I understand that. You get lucky a lot by not worrying. You weren't right, and you didn't get lucky on the Wheeler situation. But now we're pivoting and saying, oh, he'll be fine next year. So you're pivoting just like I do, but whatever. Anyway, what issue, what question? Yeah. In your opinion, do they win a championship? I think if I had to bet money, I would feel much more comfortable putting my money, and it's easy to, it just explains, because I know you're going to call me a degenerate by saying betting, but it's an easier way to do it. If I'm getting, just say, 10-1 on them winning the World Series or 5-1 on them getting to the World Series, I'd rather lay money on the 5-1. We've seen this team collapse in the playoffs. So, again, you're telling me just not worry, they're going to do it. But the thing is, I need to see them do it in the postseason. Okay? I'm confident they can. So, will and can are two different words. Will the Phillies win a championship? Maybe. Can they win a championship? Absolutely. They're just going to have to play like they're playing now in October. Phil, in your opinion, do the Eagles win the Super Bowl again this year? Absolutely. Yes, I do. I think the Eagles, barring a massive injury to a Jalen Hurts or something like that, yeah, absolutely. I think the Eagles. If you had to tell me I had to pick Eagles or Phillies to win a championship next, I'm going to place all my money on the Eagles. I'm worried they won't win it because the sins of the past creep up and show again. Their batting gets cold at the wrong time. I think I'm over the bullpen worries. Jhoan Duran has, Robertson, they've all settled that bullpen out. Starting rotations leveling out a little bit. It sucks without Zack Wheeler. I want to see one more game from. What are you doing? You're playing with words here, okay? You're playing with words, okay? Whatever. You don't like certain words I use, and I use them in different ways, whatever. The Phillies can win a World Series. Will they? I don't know. Plain and simple. The Eagles are winning the Super Bowl, barring Jalen Hurts being gone for the year. Because, sorry, I worry you're wrong on the Tanner McKee stuff. Phillies got to win it. Not the first time I've said it, but this is their last chance. Yes, I think they do need to win it. Now, I don't think they need to win it in the sense of, they don't need to win it to keep jobs. They should have to win it to keep jobs, but they don't have to. But that window gets closer and closer to closing. Zack Wheeler, what's he got? A year and a half left in his career? Trey Turner ain't younger. You got JT, Ranger Suarez, and Kyle Schwarber, all free agents. At least one, maybe two of them go. And with Zack Wheeler's injury, you might have to retain Ranger Suarez now. It's a must-win run coming for the Phillies. Eagles have a good chance to Super Bowl run. Absolutely. Phillies have a good chance to make a World Series run. Good chance, yeah. Absolutely. They're going to make a run. Do they get across the line? Nobody can know for sure because they failed so many times in a row. See, I would have said, if I would have power ranked the three big free agents, Schwarber, JT, Ranger, coming into even this week, Schwarber would have been my most likely, JT second, Ranger third. But now, because you might not see till June or July Zack Wheeler, you kind of have to re-sign Ranger Suarez now, right? And if you re-sign Ranger Suarez, can you re-sign Schwarber, as well? So, Rick, answer it this way. Answer your question with a question. How would you power rank the importance to sign those three players before the Wheeler injury and then after the Wheeler injury? Because I think it's crazy both ways there. I think the Wheeler injury changes a lot because if you do not have Zack Wheeler, what do you do? Phillies had a good chance before Zach got hurt. I don't think they have the pitching now to overcome that bats all failing in the playoffs. I don't know. I'm not as worried about the offense at this moment, or the pitching this moment. I'm still concerned about the pitching or the hitting staying consistent. Got to re-sign JT. You do. I mean, JT is having a phenomenal last 2 months, I think it's been. JT still catches very well. Did you see that throw out? Was it Friday or Saturday's game? The dude wasn't even in the TV frame, and the ball was already there. I don't know if it was a bad jump or not. I almost think you got to sign JT and Ranger instead of Schwarber. Maybe you go Ranger, JT, Schwarber in that range now that the Zack Wheeler injury happened. It's interesting. It's interesting. Good morning, Little G. Hope you're doing well this morning. I think the Phillies should definitely re-sign any big money free agent before the lockout comes and the institute a salary cap. I don't know what's going on with that, Rick, but I think it's one of the few things we've agreed on over the last year or so. I've been talking about a lockout in baseball for years, and it's going to happen in basketball as well. I do not think a salary cap will happen. I think there will be changes to the whole situation, but I do not think that a salary cap will ever happen. I don't know how that gets approved. I don't. Good morning, Chet. What's up? Hoping the Phillies put the Mets out of their misery this week. Said it before. They're starting the series 7 games up. If we come out 8 games up, which means taking 2 out of 3, great. If we could sweep them, if we sweep the Mets, it's like making the Mets sleep with the fishes, basically, at this point. You got to. You got to put them out of their misery. Boot to ass, foot to throat, put them to sleep. Take them off the Stugatz, about 20 miles offshore, roll them up, get a little shot of tequila, and roll them off the side of the boat. That's what you got to do. The Mets, I don't know exactly, but I remember seeing that they've won a few games recently. So maybe they're starting to get their mojo back a little bit. And you don't want them to get their mojo back. Basically, what you want to do is knock them out. That little momentum growing, boom, hit a brick wall called the Philadelphia Phillies. MLB is looking at a lockout, but a salary cap is needed for MLB to survive the next 20 years. They've been losing viewership for the last 20 years. I'm not saying I'm for or against a salary cap. What I'm saying is I don't know how they approve a salary cap and how you even work that. You put a salary cap, you've got people making $750 million. That won't fit into any salary cap. All right, so they had won a couple games before yesterday. I don't know, Rick. I remember looking recently and seeing a 2 or 3 game winning streak on the box scores. Okay, I don't live and breathe by what the Mets are doing. Just so you know, but we can. I can look right now. We're gonna pull up the Mets. They won 3, 4, 5. They're 5-3 in their last 8 games. The Mets. So I mean, for the Mets, a 5-3 8-game stretch. That's a good run for them. Okay, that means they're doing something right. Okay, by their standards. Mets or the Cowboys? I don't know. The Cowboys might be a little worse. I'm just saying. The Cowboys might be a little worse. Okay, the Cowboys are the worst run franchise. You got Micah Parsons taking a nap on the sideline on the trainer's table. You got so much drama going on with the Cowboys. The Mets at least are semi-competitive sometimes. When I said 5-3 in the last 8, you want to say the last 10? Whatever. And 5-5, that's better than losing like 7 or 8 games in a row. Whatever. So maybe the Mets have no momentum, okay, to lose. Whatever. I'm just going off a box score checking, okay? So, whatever. Anyway, guys, it's the top of the hour. It's 9 a.m. If you haven't already, like. If you haven't already subscribed, my computer says we've only got 12 likes, but we got 21 votes on the poll question, which A is creeping closer and closer in the poll up on the Howie trades. I don't think the 3 trades were an A. I think a B, maybe a C. B's at 48%, C's at 14%. I probably would have voted C. While they're very good trades, they were trades to fix mistakes. So you have to lose a point for that. These contracts will have to be allowed to grandfathered in. Cap happens for all players going forward. It will take 10 years just to clear those deals out. Yeah, they're going to have to figure out something like that. I just don't. I think the players will play hardball. And the lockout will last a very long time if the owners really push for a salary cap. And then maybe eventually they cave, the players. I don't know. But, man, something's going to change. It's going to be a long, long thing. It's going to be a very, very long, messy breakup for baseball. Okay? That means they were 1-9 and now they're 5-5. So they went from being 1-9 to 5-5. So they went 1-9 in 10 games and then 5-5 in their next 10 games. That is momentum changing, okay? Jerry Jones gets away with bypassing the CBA and blatantly proud of it. He's more than willing killing a player with the CBA. Rich guys control freak mentality. What? Rich guys control mentality. Yeah, look, Jerry Jones is a disaster, okay? Disaster, okay? And how long will Micah hold out for? Okay. How long will Micah hold out for? Just think about it. Every game he missed, it's 1.1 million, I think it is. I think over the course of the season, it'd be like 20, 21 million. How long will Micah hold out and stand his ground? Because even if he sits out the whole year, he loses that 20 million, and the Cowboys could still just franchise tag him for 2 years. Was he going to sit out 3 years? I mean, that would be a bold-ass statement from Micah Parsons. I don't know. It's crazy. Resign, but yeah, absolutely. And I get what you're saying with that. I don't know if John Middleton's going to re-sign all three of those free agents, though, to the money that all three is going to make. We talked about it before. Kyle Schwarber's going to get 4 years somewhere, so it would have to be 4 years here. Okay? 4 years, $30 million. 4 years, $40 million. Are you going to give 130, 160 million to Schwarber? JT's only going to need 2 or 3 years, but he's going to need 20 million at least. So that's what? We're talking 50, 60 million. And Rangers going to want 15 million. 65 to 80 million dollars a year for those three players? Will John Middleton really do it? I don't know. Apparently, Christian McCaffrey announced today that he has launched a new performance footwear and apparel brand while on Earth. The slogan is "It works great until it doesn't." I have no idea what you're talking about. How much of that's a joke? How much of it's not? But good for CMC. What's the use of a CBA if it doesn't get enforced by the NFL Players Association? This is what happens when owners interfere with the election and got their own puppet. Yeah, that's true. I mean, no. How can we trust owners? We never really discussed it. But obviously, there was already a case proven that they were colluding against the players on guaranteed money. And one of the owners that was not in that collusion case was Jeffrey Lurie, proving how great Jeffrey Lurie is. But anyway, we've already seen owners collude on guaranteed money. The owners, we never really talked about it. Why did that? Because of how rich the owners of the NFL are, that collusion case, it got a little byline on ESPN, and it just kind of went away. Nobody talked about it on First Take. No one talked about it on the radio. Hell, I didn't talk about it here on this show. It just kind of went away. Better to give out contracts to retain our players now before the cap happens. Also, aren't you concerned about the age, too, though? I mean, they were talking about it in the game yesterday. Yeah, I do watch the games, Rick. About how the Nationals are the youngest team in baseball, the Phillies are the oldest team in baseball. The Eagles have a chance at repeating because they're young. They keep their young stars. They keep developing new. The Phillies, I mean, they're getting old. You re-sign all old players, and they start breaking down. Kirk Green sees nothing after the 7th inning of the playoffs. Robertson, just a more stabilizing presence. Yeah, it's 9 Duran, 8 Robertson, and you play with the 7th and 6th with Kirk Green and Straub, for sure. Everything but the slogan is real. Gotcha. Good for him, though. Can Micah Parsons find a way to offset the $20 million a year he's losing if he sits out? How does that work with the union? He sits out and holds out. They still get his union benefits and everything else. Like, what can Micah Parsons, like, he ain't going to make $20 million on a podcast. Well, maybe he would. I don't know. He's not going to make $20 million if he releases a clothing brand or a performance brand. I think it's crazy. All right, I want to throw something else. We're talking Eagles. We're talking Phillies, but I want to throw another topic. You know we love talking movies and TV and music on this show. So something popped into my head this weekend, okay? And I wanted to get people's opinions, and I already know some of the answers that'll be said, whatever. So I'm going to throw a TV show topic into the universe, okay? And spoiler alert, all these are going to be spoiler alerts, okay? What death in a TV show was so obvious it was going to happen, but on the flip side, still broke your heart when it did happen? Somebody that died, you knew that character was going to die, but still stabbed you in the heart when it happened. Still broke your heart, made you feel something. Throwing that into the universe today as well, because I thought that was interesting. I randomly thought about it when I saw it, spoiler alert, Hank Schrader. I saw a reel with Hank Schrader getting, knocked off in Breaking Bad. And I just remember watching that scene for the first time and be like, damn it. I knew it was going to happen, but damn it. It really still sucked. 2012 is dangerously close to playing out. I really hope Justin Crawford works on his arm in the offseason because it's really devaluing him right now. It's closer to Revere than I'd like to see. I mean, Justin Crawford's arm being closer to Ben Revere, which Ben Revere was like the worst thrower of a baseball there was. But the thing with Ben Revere was he didn't have Justin Crawford's bat. Justin Crawford could still hit. So that saves Justin Crawford above that level, Nooms. Just so you know. So, I'm not worried about much later than this year right now and next year. I thought it was pretty obvious that Oberyn Martell was going to lose to the Mountain. It didn't break my heart, but I watched it late enough at night that it gave me nightmares. I'm assuming Game of Thrones. I've never watched Game of Thrones. But yeah. The new Dexter TV series, I'm sure Batista is going to die before the end of the season. They canceled it. They're not doing a second season. I heard good things, but they have. I was very upset about Hank Schrader dying. And then for the few of you that know the show, The Americans, when Nina met her end and the way that she met her end, after thinking it was going to be gone for so long, it was just so gut-wrenching. It was such a gut-wrenching one. That's fine. I'm never going to watch Game of Thrones. And if I do, it'll be a long time from now. So I'm not worried about it. This is a very spoiler alert kind of topic. But I've heard a lot of people say it was great, but I just saw something pop up. I've never even watched Dexter. I've watched like 1 or 2 episodes of it. Never really had time to commit to it. But everyone says the new Dexter is great, but they've already canceled it, I've heard. Revere hit over 300 for multiple years. Did he? I don't remember that. Crawford has the way better eye and way better base running ability, but Rojas has a better arm right now. Can't play them all, though. Can't play them all. I don't know. But getting back to your 2012, the Phillies got very old very fast. In 2012, remember in 2012, we brought back Marlon Byrd. He was like 36 at the time. That team was very, very old. And the Phillies are getting close to that. And what happened? They all broke down. No, that's the Dexter original Sing got canceled. Oh. Okay. So there's 3 Dexter. Okay. I didn't know there were 2 different Dexter shows going on right now. Sorry, I'm not up on my Dexter world right now well enough. Like I said, I think I've seen 1 or 2 episodes, and that's it. Someday we'll get into watching that. Someday. And then I'll have to watch all the follow-ups to it. But, yeah. There's so many great deaths in TV shows that just pulled at your strings. Like for Walking Dead fans, when Glenn died. We all knew Glenn was going to die at some point. But then they kill Abraham instead. And you're like, oh, Glenn's saved. And then, boom, 5 minutes later, no, he's not. But it had to happen. The only age I don't worry about is JT. I actually worry about catchers' ages more than anything. Because when those knees start to go, then your pop time slows down. Your bat slows down. I do worry about JT. No, Glenn died in the comics at the same point as at the hands of Negan. So just in the comics, I think it was just Glenn instead of Abraham and Glenn in the show. So Glenn definitely had his eye popped out. They got that like very, very accurate to the comics. Glenn died at the hands of Negan at the line up there in the comics and in the show. But it was the Abraham takes the first hit that kind of shocked me. Like, oh, he's good. Great character gets to stay, and then he's not. Oh well. Nina was a gut punch to me. Hank Schrader was a gut punch. What's her name? Ruth from the Ozarks. That was a gut punch. Phil, do you do anything over Labor Day weekend at all, or you slammed at the pizza shop? Well, it just depends on the weather. We're actually closed this year on Labor Day. I'm going up to New York. Anybody ain't going to be anywhere near Brooklyn? I'll be in Brooklyn this weekend, Sunday and Monday. There'll be no show next Monday because of that. Visiting my sister-in-law and her fiance. They opened up a coffee shop in Brooklyn, Loved Ones Coffee. Roasts his own coffee there. If you're ever in Brooklyn, check out Loved Ones Coffee. Abraham's death ticked me off. Yeah, Abraham was a good character. He was a good character. I think there's still more story to tell there with him. But it is what it is. I've lost so much. I care less about The Walking Dead. Haven't watched really any of the spinoffs. I'm done. I'm so tapped on The Walking Dead. That went on for far too long. TV shows need to have an expiration date. And The Walking Dead's expiration date was like years ago, unfortunately. I like shows that have a story and a set time frame. That's why I like The Americans. I knew when The Americans was ending, before 3 seasons before it ended. 5 families meeting in Brooklyn next week. Yeah, I'm going to Brooklyn to meet the other families for sure. What's up, Mister? How you doing this morning? $4,000 for a new pool liner, $3,000 for a new cover. Oh, is that your big expense this weekend? Oh, damn, that sucks. Definitely sucks. But they last a long time. So, you get your money's worth. We're up to 15 likes, no new subscribers, but we got 22 votes, but only 15 likes. So let's hit those buttons. Refresh my memory on who that is off the top of my head. I don't even know Bobby Ewing off the top of my head. So there's that. Sorry. What will Howie Roseman do next? That's the story. That's the conversation for the final 15 or so minutes of this show. What will Howie do next? According to Twitter, he hasn't done anything yet. Okay, today. It's kind of shocking. ESPN's pushing that we trade for Trey Hendrickson now. I'm just perusing through the first 30 or 40 tweets here on Twitter, but that's about it. I just spent $1,000 on a sidewalk, found a void under. Dallas. Oh, that's right. I have seen that. I've never watched Dallas, but I have seen that on shows talking about movies. Yeah, everybody thought he was dead and he came back. That's right. Patrick Dallas's character, Patrick Duffy. Yeah, Step by Step stat. Yeah. Why do I know Patrick Duffy as Step by Step instead of Dallas? Yeah, I never do. Random chat, Mr. Chat. What was the show you were calling me a character from? Some French show or Mr. French or whatever? You think like I look like some French dude? I don't even remember what you said now this weekend. But yeah. Yeah, I know about the Bobby Ewing. Now that you say that, I've seen it. Like, I love those things like on CNN, like the 70s, when they talk all about the 70s, movies, TV, news, 80s, 90s, all that stuff. I feel the same way about The Walking Dead, but Fear the Walking Dead reeled me back in. The original first 2 or 3 seasons of Fear the Walking Dead, the first season of Fear the Walking Dead was phenomenal TV. Having that be like kind of the prequel to The Walking Dead, the start of the apocalypse. It was great. It was great. And then they killed off Travis. That didn't pull at my strings when they killed off Travis. That just pissed me off as a stupid, unnecessary death. Falling out of a helicopter. What? It's only 9 a.m. Most teams haven't released players. He won't be making moves until they start releasing decent vets. We'll say. Howie's never done. You reminded me of Sebastian Cabot, who was Mr. French in Family Affair in the late 60s. I'm old. Freddie Defoe's old, too. Maybe he remembers. I'm just kidding, Freddie. Yes, Sebastian Cabot. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Mr. French in Family Affair. Never heard of him. Never heard of the show. Never heard of the actor or the character. But supposedly, guys, Google this person, and he thinks I remind him of him. I don't know. I don't know. Again, he must be an awesome dude, Sebastian Cobe. He must be really cool. He must be good looking. He must have a great beard, just like me. We'll see. I don't know. Anyway, I want to see what Howie does. Travis will forever have your shit pushed in. Yeah. Yeah. I always found it weird, the things that actor has been in. He's been in a lot of things. He's like a poor man's Al Pacino. He could play an Italian. He could play a Native American. He could play a Mexican gangster. He could play all different kinds of roles. Just like, Al Pacino could play an Italian and a Cuban at the same exact time. It's kind of Travis is something right there. If you guys don't know who Travis was, look up Travis from Fear the Walking Dead and see his IMDb list. He's from New Zealand. Oh man, you'd be shocked at how many actors in The Walking Dead are from Britain, but they play Americans. They all got English accents, just about every single one of them, which is kind of crazy. But, whatever. Final 12 minutes, final 14 minutes here. What do we got left on the docket? I'm just perusing through Twitter right now, and I see my man Nick Faria, who covers the Jets, but used to be Philadelphia Sports Network covering the Eagles, and he's sharing out a comment of when Dorian Thompson-Robinson was waived by the Eagles, that the Jets should pick him up because they need quarterback depth. And that dude should not be on an NFL team. That's pathetic that's what you're tweeting out, that you want DTR. All right? Not happening. Not happening at all. Pacino's Cuban was a bit cringe from what I hear. Look, we love talking gangster movies and TV shows on this show, but let me tell you something. This might make you like me less or maybe like me more, but I think Scarface is one of the most overrated gangster movies of all time. Maybe the most overrated. People think it's a masterpiece. I think it's awful. I think it's just straight terrible. Really. I have no desire to ever watch it. We are getting on the poll question dangerously close to A, winning the poll, which I don't think it should be an A. I think B is a fair win. C is okay. But right now we are at 41% A at the grade for Howie's 3 trades on Sunday. 45% at B, 14% at C. Nobody voted D. I loved Scarface, but Cubans were not so hot on it. Yeah. I didn't like Scarface. I just spent $700 on a loaf of bread, a dozen eggs, and a tank of gas. Man, $700 dollars, like US dollars, or are we talking, from another country? I'm guessing all of Roland Pierce glazing is over now that Fred Johnson is back. Maybe. Say hello to my little friend. Yeah, it's stupid. Stupid. So overrated. So overrated. Maybe that gets me fired. I don't know. Maybe that changes how you feel about me. But it just ain't happening. Such a terrible movie, in my opinion. So out of left field, honestly. Anyway. We're not talking movies, though. We're talking TV show deaths that hurt the most. But you knew they were happening. Someone called me out for it on Twitter. I brought this up on Twitter, and I said that Hank Schrader dying hurt me the most because I knew it was coming. And everyone said, you're an idiot, okay? Because nobody knew Hank Schrader was dying. I thought Hank Schrader was dying from season 2 on. And I was 100% sure that he was going to meet his maker before that show ended. I actually thought it was going to happen sooner than it did. But, seriously. Hey, we got to see a young Michelle fight. That's true. I mean, that's a fair point. That is a fair point. Yeah, exactly. Look, when I say overrated, I mean overrated based off of where other people rank it. Like, if everybody said it was an okay movie, I'd agree with you. But because everybody says it's a masterpiece, I'd say it's overrated because it's not even close to a masterpiece. That's all I'm saying about Scarface. And we got off topic. So the AI-generated shorts today are either going to put Noom's face on it again or a lot of Scarface stuff and movie and TV show stuff. But anyway, we'll see what the shorts are that come up with today. See, the more we get off topic, the worse the shorts get, just so you know. We'll see. We'll see. You know, yeah, we'll save that one for tomorrow. We'll save that note on my book for tomorrow. Refresh Twitter again. ESPN really pushing hard. Lots of tweets. They're really pushing hard for the Trey Hendrickson trade. I mean, I would be not against it, but, Holland Pierce, yeah. Yeah. You have no control over those shorts. Well, so there's one program that I could pay a lot of money to use, but it's very expensive, and I could have a lot more control. This thing that I use, StreamYard, it's in beta format right now. You click a button, and it auto-generates the shorts and the thumbnails for it. And I could pick which ones I want to publish or not. But there's no way to edit them unless I purchase another program. It is getting better, the AI generation of them on StreamYard. And there are no thumbnails. It's just whatever part of the video that they choose. But yes, do I have control over them? No, but a little bit. It's getting better. Okay. Every single week, the short program is getting better, and StreamYard's community page says that they're working on updating it, and hopefully by the end of the year, it's up to date with the skill set of like an Opus Clips or something like that, which Opus Clips is, for what I do here, so expensive. So, yeah, I don't have as much control as I'd like to have, but it also saves me a hell of a lot of time. We are now dead even on A or B on the vote on the poll question. So an Cuban immigrant from 80 is supposed to have articulate vocabulary like Shakespeare. Yeah, exactly. Holland Pierce was good. He wasn't mentioned in negative way throughout the preseason, so that's good. Yeah, I guess not getting mentioned, but just the whole offensive line wasn't that good, Duck. The backup offensive line was just average at best. Howie only got 16 likes, but we got 23 votes on the poll, K1. So people come, they vote, and they dip. Why? I don't remember. Say hello to my little friend. Oh, it was in Shakespeare. Absolutely. It was in Romeo and Juliet, I think. I think Romeo was going up to the other family. He said, say hello to my little friend. But yeah, the offensive line depth. That's why you went out and got Fred Johnson. I'm actually kind of surprised that they traded Darian Kennard, because he should have been at least, I don't know, he should have been kept because he's probably a little bit better than some of the other guys. He is a little older, though. He didn't get gaslit, no. He was supposed to be Mailata's backup, but they saw those feet and immediately had pivot. Yeah. Look, I thought Darian Kennard was a lock to make the roster. Fred Johnson is a lock to make the roster now. I almost feel like I can't even make a 53-man roster prediction because, I mean, there's just too many unknowns at this point. There's going to be crazy cuts coming in the next 24 hours. But there's also going to be crazy, wow, I can't believe they made the team. And there's going to be I would guess that there's at least 2 or 3 players from outside organizations. We'll set it right now. 2.5 players from outside organizations coming in to the Eagles. Over or under 2.5. I got to say the over. Go Pro Score. Look, again, it's okay. If it's on and nothing else is on TV, yeah, I keep it on. Kennard wasn't making the team. Stoutland didn't push for him. So, yeah, I mean, Fred Johnson made Kennard expendable. Kennard's got experience. Hey, I mean, you recouped one of the picks, right? You basically have given up a bunch of picks, late-round picks. You got a new late-round pick for 2027. It's fair. And honestly, as I'm looking at my 53-man roster prediction with a bunch of additions, I didn't have him on it, which I'm kind of shocked. The offensive line depth still concerns me. Fred Johnson makes it a little bit better, but it still concerns me. But I'm saying that Howie's going to bring in at least 3 players from other teams at this point. The first time I saw The Godfather, it was way too long after the movie came out. And because of that, I was very disappointed. I still say Godfather 2 is better than Godfather 1. But Godfather's a great movie. I don't think I've ever been disappointed in watching The Godfather. Howie probably saw an opportunity to get Johnson and asked Stout, do you want him back? And Stout said yes. And that is very possible the way it worked out. Absolutely. And it's still a growing relationship between Howie and Vic Fangio. We keep saying that Howie's giving him the tools, but then you hear like the Adoree Jackson story. Well, I didn't ask for him. I didn't want him. I didn't know anything about him. So we're still learning how Howie, is giving Stoutland, Vic Fangio, and his coaches the players they want to succeed. And he's listening to Stout. Hopefully he's listening to Vic Fangio today. Who should we go? So normally it's the owner, the GM, and the head coach in a room. Hopefully Vic Fangio and Kevin Patullo and Jeff Stoutland are all in that room too. Normally it's like 2 or 3 people making the final decisions. Hopefully there's about 8 people in that room. Howie's sitting at his desk. All right, Nick, we got these 3 players. What do you think? All right, Stout, what do you think? Patullo, what do you think? All right. Hey, we got these 2 players. Vic Fangio, which one do you want? Bobby King? Who do you think's the better of these 2? Hopefully that's what's going on right now. Hopefully Howie's like, Vic, can we survive with a Jackson, Ringo, and Bennett, and Mac McWilliams? Or do I need to go add somebody? Hopefully Vic Fangio's like, yo, over here, Howie, call on me. Yo, I need somebody better than these 2 guys. Hopefully there's a lot of communication going on right now. When you continue to hear your Siggy grandparents whining about the movie's Italian stereotypes, that's what winds up happening. Look, Italian stereotypes, they happen. I just take them as a badge of honor. That's what I do. I don't really get upset about that at all. All right, what's on tap this week? Obviously, tomorrow and Wednesday, all the roster moves are going to be heavily discussed on this show. Who comes, who goes. We will break down this roster a lot this week. And while offensive line and quarterback were the key today, I have a feeling tomorrow we'll be talking about that defense a lot. And the rumors that Trey Hendrickson or Javon Walker are coming to Philly, maybe at some point. I'm sure it's going to be heavily discussed. And we'll see. I got the faith in Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni and these guys. Problem is we don't know who's going to get released yet. Once we know which safety are getting let go, then Howie and Vic can yeah, absolutely. But you know what? They don't know who's getting released, but they got an idea on some of the players that may get released. Like they've got an idea and understanding. They know every team's depth chart and how it's playing out. They got people taking notes on every preseason game. They have a general idea. Well, maybe this guy here or that. They probably got 7 guys listening. All right, 1 or 2 of these guys are going to get released. Do we want one of them? I don't know about that, but okay. You got to get off that Trey Hendrickson kick. I get it helps your content, but damn, hey, I'm not on it for the content. I would absolutely right now the rumor floating around that ESPN's pushing Jalen Hunt in a 3rd round pick for Hendrickson. I would do Nolan Smith in a 3rd round pick for Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson makes your team instantly better. 1,000 times better. I'm in. I'm all in, Nooms. I don't care about the money. And Nolan Smith's a nice player. Jalen Hunt has a lot of potential. But I'm doing it like that. Not because of the content, but because it's best for business. And best for business is what matters. Best for business is what gets you a Super Bowl. I would rather keep him. Okay. But there is no guarantee that Jalen Hunt or Nolan Smith will ever come anywhere near Trey Hendrickson's production level. No chance. Well, I shouldn't say no chance. Not likely. Trey Hendrickson is an instant game changer. Trey Hendrickson is a win now move. Trey Hendrickson is an all-time great in this modern era. He's a wrecker. Nolan Smith, maybe. But he had 6.5, 7.5 sacks last year. He might be able to get you 9 sacks. Jalen Hunt, there's still a lot of unknown with Jalen Hunt. I won't be upset if they keep Hunt and Smith instead of making the trade. But I also would not be upset. I'd be out here shouting that Howie Roseman gave up on a young stud too soon. I mean, the whole team is terrible. They have a terrible ownership. Terrible ownership. Nolan Smith is a linebacker, Hendrickson DFA. And this is the biggest concern. That would Hendrickson fit into a Vic Fangio scheme anyway? And I get that. I get that 100%. Who's texting me this early? Everybody knows I'm on a show right now. Actually, it's 9:30, so I should probably be getting up anyway. Who's texting me? No. Josh Sweat wasn't really a linebacker, and he had success in the system too, though. He's a game changer on rundowns when he loses contain. Whatever. Say what you will. Eagles would be better with than without him. That's my opinion. Anyway, we're already a minute into overtime, so it's time to wrap this up. You want to bring up the Trey Hendrickson thing, bring it up tomorrow after the trade news breaks. Guys, I got to wrap it up, though. We'll be back with a lot of Eagles content tomorrow, for sure. So make sure you like, you share, subscribe. Replay gang, love you too. Shout out to all the kids going back to school today. Shout out to all of you. Everybody have a great Monday. It's going to be a beautiful week in the Delaware Valley. Great temperatures, sunny skies. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Go Birds. Bubbles up.